Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. In this module, we shall be discussing ore geology. You know that ores and minerals are a non-renewable resource. We get all kind of things which we use in our daily life from the ores and minerals. In that light, the learning objectives of this module are to introduce the concept of ores, to know the various modes of occurrence of ore deposits, to understand the various processes responsible for the formation of ore deposits. Most of the modern conveniences in our daily life are reliant on the mineral deposits present in the Mother Earth. The demand for natural mineral resource has been increased to manifold due to industrial growth as well as increase in human population. The knowledge and understanding of the mode of occurrence, genesis and distribution of the mineral deposits are important for the sustainable development of these mineral resources. Ore geology is the field that covers major aspects pertaining to the description, understanding and genesis of the ore deposits. Since the mineral resource development has huge impact on the socio-economic and environmental scene of any nation, therefore, this discipline is very important for the students and scientists of environmental sciences. The mineral deposits or ore deposits form when a mineral or element or a group of minerals or elements is sufficiently concentrated in any part of the earth crust, so that they can be extracted with profit. It is broadly classified into two classes as metallic minerals. Metallic minerals are the mineral deposits or ore deposits that form which are one or more metals can be extracted with profit. Examples are deposit of gold, deposits of iron, lead, zinc, copper, etc. The second group is industrial mineral deposit or non-metallic mineral deposits, from which mineral or minerals which can itself be used for one or more industrial purposes and are useful because of their unique physical or chemical properties. Examples are deposits of barite, gypsum, mica, fluorite, talc, etc. So, in this module we shall be trying to understand the processes which are responsible for the formation of ore deposits. Let me try to know what is ore. Any naturally occurring material from which a mineral or group of minerals of economic importance can be extracted with profit is defined as ore. It normally consists of ore minerals and ganze material. Now, what is ore mineral? Mineral from which one or more elements can be extracted easily and profitably is called as ore mineral. The examples are galena, that is a mineral of lead, then sphalerite, chalcopyrite, pyrite, hematite, hematite is an ore of iron, then chromite, etc. And ganze is all other material present in the ore that are not of any economic interest, have little or no economic value. They all come under the category of ganses. Now, let me come to the classification of ore minerals. Ore minerals can be classified into 5 categories, and these categories are native elements, sulfide ores, oxide ores, carbonate, tungstate, phosphate, sulfate ores and halides. Let me look on some of the examples under each category. Native elements, as the name indicating, they are found in the native form. The examples of this category are native gold, native silver, native platinum. Sulfide ores, as the name indicating, these are present in the sulfide form. The examples are chalcopyrite, then chalcocite, then bornite, covellite, galena, sphalerite and many more sulfide ores are given in this table. Then third category or third class is oxides ore. As the name indicating, the ores are found in the oxide form. The examples of this class are cuprite. Cuprite is a ore of copper, hematite, limestone, ilmenite, then magnetite, chromite, pyrolusite, etc. are the examples of oxide ores. Then fourth category contains carbonate, tungstate, phosphate, sulfide ores. And let me take the examples of carbonate. The example are siderite, then rhodochrosite, etc. Then examples of tungstate form are sachelite. Then sulfates example are barite. Then phosphates examples are genotime, etc. Monazite, that is ore of thorium. Monazite is ore of thorium. Then halides. Halides, as the name indicate, these may contain any of the halogen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc. The examples are halite, that contains chloride. Then chlorargyrite, fluorite, atacamite, etc. From this table, we have found that all the ore minerals can be divided into 5 categories based upon their chemical natures, and we have seen the examples of each category. Now, let me come to the nature and morphology of ore deposits. These can be of two types, syngenetic and epigenetic. What is syngenetic? In case of syngenetic, ore body forms at the same time as the host rock body is formed. The example is iron rich cement in a stratigraphic interval, whereas epigenetic is the ore forms at some later time after the host rock body has formed. The example is gold bearing vein cutting across a granite pluton. The field observations of the ore bodies, like their mode of occurrence and relationship with the host rocks, their relation with the regional stratigraphy and structures give the first hand information about their origin. The pattern of distribution of ore minerals in a host rock and the contact of the ore body with the immediate host rock may either be sharp or gradational or diffused or invisible to the naked eye. The contact of ore body and host rock is called as sharp when there is an abrupt change in the critical physical and chemical parameters of the system. The examples of this are presence of disconcordant ore vein or concordant ore layer within any rock. The gradational or diffused contact signifies a gradual change in the mineralization fronts, while the invisible contact is defined by the SA value of the ore element only, and the ore body does not have any physical identity. Shapes of ore bodies can be classified into two groups. One is discordant, that is vein type deposits, and second one is concordant, that is stratiform ore deposits. Let me discuss them one by one. Discordant ore bodies. These are regularly shaped bodies, tabular ore bodies, extensive in 2 dimensions and restricted in the third. The example is veins and lode tubular ore bodies, short in 2 dimensions, extensive in the third. Example is mantos, pipes, chimneys. Then irregularly shaped bodies, disseminated deposits. Ore minerals are dispersed throughout the host rock. Replacement deposits develop from contact metamorphism, also termed scar. This table shows the tabular ore bodies and tabular bodies. You will find that veins can be further divided into open space, crank seal, lodes, pinch and swell, sheeted veins. Then tubular bodies are further divided into pipes or chimneys, mantos, ports. This slide shows the examples of tubular vein controlled by fracture system and tubular ore body. This example from the Vulcantine pipe, Herberton, Queensland, Australia. Irregular ore bodies. Irregular ore bodies may be of two types: disseminated in rocks in stockworks, replacement scones and flats. Disseminated stockworks. Stockworks are synonym with disseminated ore deposits. These types are often inside felsic and intermediate intrusions, but also cut across the contact into the country rock. Then replacement ore bodies. The ore bodies formed due to the replacement of pre-existing rocks due to the metasomatism and thermal metamorphism. These deposits are extremely irregular in shape. Iron or copper or tin scones are common replacement type of deposits. Then concordant ore bodies. Concordant ore bodies are normally present as layers parallel to the beddings. Sedimentary host rocks. Concordant ore bodies in sediments are very important producers of many different metals, being particularly important for base metals and iron, and are of course concordant with the bedding or other structural features in the host rock. They may or may not be an integral part of the stratigraphical sequence. Usually these ore bodies show a considerable development in two dimensions. Such bodies can be present in sedimentary or igneous host rocks. Volcanic hosted massive sulfides and stratiform chromite deposits are some of the examples present in the igneous rocks. Process of formation of ore deposits. The theories regarding ore forming processes can be broadly classified into two categories as endogenic processes. Endogenic processes are the internal earth processes responsible for the formation of ore deposits. The endogenic processes of deposit formation include magmatic segregation processes, magmatic injection processes and hydrothermal processes. The other theory is exogenic processes. Exogenic processes which operates over the surface and are responsible for the formation of ore deposits. These processes include sedimentary precipitation, residual concentration processes, supergene enrichment processes and volcanic exhalative processes. Magmatic processes for ore formation. The magmatic ore forming processes can be divided into two main categories that we will be discussing one by one. First one is magmatic crystallization. The ordinary process of crystallization during cooling of magma, by which certain important minerals crystallized along with the main plutonic and volcanic igneous rocks. The best example is the diamond. Then magmatic segregation. The term magmatic segregation is the process in which the ore deposits are formed by the direct crystallization from magma through various mechanisms. Two important mechanisms through which the ore minerals get segregated to form ore deposits are fractional crystallization and liquid immiscibility. Then fractional crystallization. In this process, the ore minerals crystallized directly from magma and get segregated to form deposit by any of the igneous processes like gravitative crystal setting, flow edge differentiation, filter pressing and dilation. The early formed crystals are thus prevented to get equilibrated with the melt from which they form. Whatever the formative processes may be, their products are the rocks and called cumulates. These cumulates thus formed often display rhythmic layering. The excellent example of this type of a magmatic deposit is stratiform chromite deposit of Bushveld igneous complex in South Africa. Magmatic segregation deposits may also form by the crystallization of residual magmas by squeezing out through filter pressing process and forming a magmatic injection type of deposits. Magmatic segregation deposits may also form by the crystallization of residual magmas by squeezing out through filter pressing process and forming a magmatic injection type of deposits. The iron titanium oxide deposits associated with anorthostic gabbro are believed to have formed by such processes. Liquid immiscibility. The phenomena of separation of a cooling magma into two or more coexisting liquid fractions called as phases is known as liquid immiscibility. Three cases of liquid immiscibility under geologically reasonable conditions have been demonstrated by experiments. Separation of iron rich theolitic magmas into two liquids, one rich in SiO2, another rich in iron, then splitting of carbon dioxide rich alkali magma into carbon dioxide rich melt and silicate rich melt, and segregation of sulfide melt and heaven silicate melts from a sulfide saturated mafic ultramafic magma, that is silicate sulfide immiscibility. Then hydrothermal processes. A hydrothermal fluid can be defined as a hot 50 to more than 500 degrees Celsius aqueous solution containing solutes that are commonly precipitated as the solution changes its properties in space and time. Different ore forming processes are involved in the precipitation of ore constituents from the hydrothermal fluids. These can be applied at varying pressures and temperatures that range from those applicable at shallow crystal levels to those deep in the lithosphere. Many different types of fluids are involved in hydrothermal ore forming processes. The most primitive or juvenile fluid originates from cooling magma and are popularly called as magmatic hydrothermal fluids. Hydrothermal fluids include those formed from the expulsion of pore fluids during compaction of sediment from meteoric waters, from the circulation of seawater through ocean floor, and from metamorphic dehydration reaction. Metamorphic processes. Metamorphic processes are equally important processes which lead to form either a new mineral deposit or modify the existing mineral deposit. These processes may include deposits formed by the recrystallization, reconstitution and mobilization of the ore constituent during and as a direct consequence of the metamorphism. The metamorphic mobilization means the movement and concentration of the ore constituents already present in the pre-existing rock as a consequence of metamorphism. All the processes of regional metamorphism or contact metamorphism may give rise to the mineral deposits. The examples of the mineral deposits due to metamorphic processes include graphite, asbestos, kaolinite, sillimanite deposits, etc. The manganese oxide, that is Indian Indian Gondite ore, deposit of Goldongri, MP in India is one of the typical deposit developed during regional metamorphism. The metamorphism of the pre-existing mineral deposit may also remobilize the ore constituents further to enrich the pre-existing deposits, and such deposits are known as metamorphed deposits. The mobilization or remobilization may be chemical, that may be fluid state transport through wet diffusion, solution and melting, or mechanical, that is through solid state transfer, through plastic and cataclastic flow, diffusion or grain boundary sliding, or the combination of both. Graphite deposit of Sri Lanka and Rosing uranium deposit, Nambia, are some of the examples of metamorphic deposits. The Rampura Agucha lead zinc deposit of Rajasthan, India also show evidences of the metamorphed ores. Exogenic ore forming processes, sedimentary processes, placer deposits. The mechanical accumulation of the economically important inert and heavy minerals give rise to placer deposits. Chemical precipitation. Chemical precipitation of the sediments refers to the process responsible for the precipitation of dissolved components from solution, that is sea water or brine. Residual concentration. The chemical weathering processes are the dominantly responsible for the formation of residual concentration deposits. These include the processes by which rocks at or near surface tends to achieve equilibrium with the surface environment. According to Leader 1999, the main chemical processes that contribute to weathering include dissolution, oxidation, hydrolysis and acid hydrolysis. Supergene enrichment process. This is also a chemical weathering process causing in situ enrichment of the metal in the pre-existing primary or hypogene sulfide body. Oxidation and hydrolysis of the sulfide minerals in the upper portion of the weathering profiles is an integrated part of this process. The metals are first released from the unstable sulfide minerals and then percolate down along with the meteoric water and reprecipitate as oxides and sulfide minerals phases in the subsurface environment. This slide shows the development of a residual nickeliferous laterite deposit adapted from Evans 1993. Dear students, the details of this are given in the e-text. Please have a look on the e-text to completely understand the process. Supergene enrichment process. A typical profile of a supergene enriched mineral deposit consists of three zones from bottom to top. One is hypogene or protorgene, second is supergene enrichment zone, and third is oxidicide zone. A cap rock or gosan may be present on the top of the oxidized zone. The oxidized zone generally lie above the water table. The conditions below the water table are usually reducing. So, when the percolating solution with bulk of the dissolved metals reaches the water table, it again precipitate as sulfide enriching the grade of protor. This zone hence is known as enriched zone or zone of supergene enrichment. Exhalative process. Hydrothermal or volcanic fluid exhalations through and onto the sea floor give rise to a major group of ore deposits. These fluids are generally derived from subsurface magmas or may also originate by circulation of sea or connate waters above zones of high geothermal gradient. Two major type of deposits are formed by this process. These are volcanic hosted massive sulfide deposits. These are formed in active submarine volcanic settings and sedimentary exhalative deposits in predominantly sedimentary basins. Both styles of deposits consist of combinations of two types of mineralization: subsurface feeder system with the epigenetic characteristics and syngenetic mineralization deposits on or just below the sea floor. Volcanic hosted massive sulfide deposits. This type of deposits contain concordant, lanced, mound, saucer shaped or tabular ore bodies of massive sulfide, that is more than 60% sulfide minerals. They are more often underlain by a discrete subvertical feeder pipe or vein with alteration pipe with a stringer zone of disseminated or stonework of copper rich sulfides at top. The VHMS deposits are always associated with coeval submarine volcanic rocks. Mineralogically, the ore bodies consist dominantly of pyrite with or without pyrrhotite and varying amount of chalcopyrite, galena and sphalerite. Gold, silver, bismuth, stannous and selenium bearing sulfides are also associated in minor quantities. The modern analog of this type of formation of ore bodies can be observed from the hydrothermal vents or black smokers present along the sea floor spreading centers. SEDEX type deposits. These are very similar in genesis to the VMS deposits, except they are not primarily driven by intrusions below. These deposits are generally formed by dewatering and metamorphism of thick piles of accumulated sediments in ocean basins. Hence, the acidy said part of the name, the exhalative portion of the name refers to the geological process of venting hydrothermal solutions into submarine environment. Many of the large SEDEX deposits of the world are Proterozoic in age. However, deposits in Phanerozoic times is also present. The example is Red Dog deposit. Some of the well known SEDEX deposits are Broken Hill and Mount Isa deposits of Australia, Red Dog, Alaska. Dear students, to summarize this module, in this module we have learnt a lot about the ores. We have learnt about various modes of occurrence of ore deposits, and we have also learned various processes responsible for the formation of ore deposits. And to explain this all, a number of examples have been given. In end, I would like to give an assignment to my students. Please make please pen down the different classes of the ores and different modes of occurrence of ore deposits, and also please pen down the different processes which are responsible for the formation of ore deposits. Thank you.